Hi everyone, I'm so glad you've joined me. I see there are a few people waiting. So glad you've come. We're going to do the June paper of this year from the DBE. But before we get started on that, let me know where you're from, what province, what school do you attend. I'm sure a few of my students are attending. I hope so. But yeah, please let me know. I'm watching the comments. And please keep those comments clean. Oh, I've set it that only subscribers can send messages so that I don't struggle with people trying to send spam. So sorry if that's like prohibiting anyone from sending a message. I see it's 4 o'clock, so I'm going to get going and I want to start. I'm going to do this as fast as I can, but I'm going to take like a small breather just after every question to take some questions from your side. So if you have a question, please subscribe so that you can actually post questions. You can unsubscribe afterwards, I really don't care. It's just so that we don't have spammers there. And then put a Q in front of your question, and then I'll know that's the questions to look out for regarding the first question, second question, and so we'll carry on. All right, so question 1. Let's have a look. So always, of course, your teacher will go through this paper with you and through all these instructions. Most of these things should be set already beforehand, but if they aren't, then the instructions are here for that. All right, let's get started. Oh, sorry, I didn't show that. I was on my, still on my face. It's my first live stream, so please excuse me for mistakes I make. Let me know in the comments if I'm messing up. All right. I'm glad to see we've got a few different people here. South Africa. I think only South Africans have cat as a subject, but thanks anyway. All right, Northcliffe, Benoni, Wellington, awesome. Thank you guys. Well, everyone's welcome. I'm so glad you're here. All right, so let's start with question 1. In Word, and in general in the practical papers, the scenario isn't that important, not nearly as important as when you do theory papers. But when you get to the Excel and the Access questions, then sometimes it's actually worth it to know what the scenario is about, just so that the data makes more sense. So just a quick read through. It's about the Table Mountain National Park. It stretches from the north of Cape Town down to Cape Peninsula. Cape of Good Hope, this extensive park makes Cape Town a spectacular tourist destination. All right, so this is something about tourist destinations and things. Right, let's start with Word question 1. You'll see I've got the Afrikaans open next to me. I'm not going to read in Afrikaans or explain in Afrikaans, but that way you can follow along if you speak Afrikaans. All right, so first question, 1 Cape Point. Now you'll see in the national papers, and it'll probably say something similar in your prelim as well, it always says insert your examination number in the header or footer or something like that. This is extremely important, especially in the finals, so that if something goes wrong with the copying and your data maybe gets mixed up with someone else, then they actually know whose work it is. And in the final exams, you'll never put your actual name in there, you'll just put your exam number, and actually put the right exam number, because there are some questions like in Access where that actually counts a mark. Yes, the live stream will be saved afterwards. All right, so in the footer they said, so we'll just put whatever number or your name and surname for the prelim. Okay. So just a reminder for anyone just joining now, if you have a question regarding question 1 that I'm doing at the moment, please put a Q in front of your comment so that I know that's the question. I'll go through that after I've completed the first question. All right, so we're in the right file. Let's get cracking. 1.1, make the following changes in the header, right? Remove the double strike through from the text Cape Town, South Africa, and change the position of the header to 1 centimeter from the top of the page. Right, so I'm going to go into the header. I'm not a fan of double clicking because sometimes it messes things up. I like to right click and say edit header or edit footer. Right, so I've got to take the double strike through away here. Just want to make you draw your attention to something, you'll see when I select this, it actually selects the watermark in the background as well. Keep that in the back of your mind. Right, so I'm selecting that, Home tab, and here's my strike through, and I can click it once and click it again to remove that. Right, and they said I've got to set it to be 1 centimeter from the top of the page. So that's on the header and footer tab. For my rule is always, if there's an on-demand ribbon or tab that's actually popped up, odds are the things you need will probably be on there. Right, and here's the header from the top. We need to make that 1 centimeter. All right, close header and footer. Next one, set the hyphenation so that words in capital letters are not hyphenated. All right. So let's say we don't know where hyphenation is. We're just going to search hyphenation change. Yes, okay. So there's nothing here that says something about caps. So let's go to options. There you go. Hyphenate words in caps. Just untick that one and say okay. For those of you who don't have the newer versions where you can search on the layout tab, that's where your hyphenation is there by page setup. And it's automatically always applied to the whole document. 1.3, insert a custom mark footnote on the word reasons found in the main heading to display as, and then it has this little at, elements of life. All right, now, so this is the reasons that I've got to apply it to. Don't select the text when you insert a footnote. Just click with your cursor after the word, right after the word, not next to why, next to reasons, okay? Go to the, you can go to the right tab on references and actually go here by footnotes, because that's where you're able to set a custom one. If you search it, just want to show you, don't choose this footnote, because this one automatically puts a number 1 in. Then you don't have an option to customize it, and if you customize it afterwards, it just messes everything up. So go to footnote and endnote, and then you can choose here. Custom mark needs to be an at, and there are no information about anything else that I've got to change here, but this is where you find all the options. Things about below text or where it should be, or funny other symbols or weird numbering or whatever. Right, now as soon as I say insert, it's going to jump to the area where I need to actually enter the text that they've given me, and that was elements of life. Right. Next up. So now you'll see this one is actually an at the top and at the bottom, and it shows elements of life. Right, next one. Find the text that starts with the Cape Peninsula and ends with 5 reasons why, and modify it to display as shown below. Let's just go select the right text. You'll see they always highlight the start and the end of the section that you need to change. Right, so that's up to there. Now, modify to display as shown below. Always check below the question. There's sometimes like an extra tip or a note or something. In this case, it says, note the spacing between the columns is 1 centimeter. Now, if they give you a ruler as part of the paper, then you've got to check the actual measurements. So I've got to check, all right, I can see a line there. That has to be one of the marks. They've told me that the spacing between the columns is 1 centimeter. That's got to be the second mark. Now, the third mark, I'm assuming, has to be the size of the columns. Do you see the first column is shorter than the second column? So if I set the first column, that looks like it ends at 6 centimeters, right? So that's going to be the third mark. Right, just showing you how to look at the screenshots. So we're going to go, if your ruler wasn't already on, you've got to switch it on the View tab. Mine is already on. You'll see, life hack, if your ruler is on and you've selected an area that's already got more than 1 column in, you can actually double click on this gray area in between to go get the column options. Otherwise, you can just search columns and go to more. All right, so we want a line in between, and we want to be able to set the first one to 6 centimeters. But you'll see at the moment, it doesn't even give me an option for the second one because they're both set to be equal width. Now, they're definitely not going to be both be 6 centimeters. So I'm going to untick the equal column width and then change this to 6 centimeters. And the spacing, they said, should be 1. And then I don't need to worry about the second one's width. If there was a fourth mark, I would perhaps see if there was a specific size, but it doesn't look like that. So, okay, there you go. Now it looks the same as these. Right. Remember, if you've got any questions, just pop it in the comments and just mark it with a Q. And hopefully you've already tried the paper. If you haven't tried it before, the link for the paper and the data is actually in the comments. Just click that link and download the files, unzip them, and then you can work on them on your computer, because it's got to be done in Word. It can't be done online. Right, next one, 1.5. It says find the text question 5, vraag 1.5. All right, let's see. Oh, they actually probably said where. No, they didn't say. There it is. Okay. So I'm selecting that. They say replace this text. Okay, so I'm good. I was supposed to select it. Replace this text with a citation referencing the source Matthew Stern. Okay, and do not display the year. All right. So let's have a look. So I'm in there. I can go search citation. I know where everything is. I just know that you guys always search stuff. So I'm just going to show how to do it when you search. Right, so insert citation, and then you'll see there's the Matthew Stern option. If you do it on the menu, it's here on the References tab. Okay, now they said, let's just double check, they said do not display the year. Okay, so I can go click at the bottom, at the drop-down arrow, and choose Edit Citation. And then I can suppress the year. Suppressing means that's not going to show. You see, there you go. A citation can't be edited manually, and even if you did type it in manually, then you wouldn't get your mark. Right, 1.6. Find the comment and reply to the comment with the text sometimes. Okay, so if I don't want to scroll through the whole document and I'm looking for the comments, on the review tab, I can actually click next for next comment, right? But it was on the next page, so it wouldn't have been much of an issue. All right, a meeting of two oceans, all right, and they said I must reply to it with the text sometimes. There you go. I don't know if it was supposed to be lowercase. Now, the chances of them actually marking this strict that they want it to be a lowercase when they show it is highly unlikely, but to play it safe, they're marking more and more strictly to follow the instructions exactly, so just be safe like that. Right, now we get to one of the difficult ones. Edit the watermark as follows. Right, remember I told you, did you see when I did the first question, when I selected the text in the header, it actually selected the watermark as well. Okay, now they say, edit the watermark as follows. Change the font type to Arial Narrow. Let's go do that. Now, if we go to watermark, we can go to custom. It's already there. The text is already there, but there I can change it. I can actually change it to, was it? Arial Narrow. I've just got a print out of the stuff in front of me as well. All right, Arial Narrow, and they didn't give a size or anything. All right, apply. Now, the next part. It says format the shape of the word art to an arch down curve shape. Right, now how do you change that? You go into the header. So I go right click, edit header, and then you'll see I can actually click on the word art. It actually shows me word art here. If you're unsure, you can click again, then it shows it like that. See, now I've got the pop-up menu, which I need to go change the word art shape. And this would be the same if there was a picture in there and I had to like apply some effect to that or change the size or whatever. I would be able to go click in the header. And consequently, remember, if you ever have a question where you've got to change, like have a watermark just on one page, it actually works together with the sections in the headers. Right, we'll do some sections just now in another question. Right, so on word art, I need to change the shape. There are the shape options. And there I can, it said arch down. Hey, arch up, there's arch down. Right, and there you go. Right, I see the first question. I'll check just now as soon as I'm done with this. Right, find the text below the heading funicular, I don't know how to say that, tickets that starts with description and ends with 35 Rand. Change the layout of this text to appear as shown below. Right, now, if there's a screenshot that's got a ruler with it, the ruler is important. So, let's just go find the stuff. There you go. All right, starts with description and ends with 35 Rand. So I'm selecting that whole part. Now, I can see it's on the same line. I can see there must be tabs so that they've got these little dotted lines in between. And I can see on the ruler, nothing's changed with where it starts. But the first set, this adults, 85 Rand, 70 Rand, is a left tab at 6 centimeters. Can you see that? The next set, children, is actually a center tab at 9.5. And then the last tab seems to be a right tab at 14 centimeters. Okay, so now I can go. Now this is a life hack way of doing tabs. I can't actually remember the guy's name who showed it to me. It was one of the students in my first year of teaching that was in grade 10. He didn't finish matric, so that's why I don't remember his name. Right, left, he just went to another school. First one, so what I'm doing here is at the top, here in the corner, top left, I can change the different tabs. So I'm changing it to the one that I need first. I need a left tab first. And then I just, while this is selected, apply it on 6. Just going to zoom in a bit. Oh, now that I've applied it, I can actually see the 14 right one was already there. And I need to change the second one, needs to be a center tab at 9.5. There you go. All right, this looks close to what I need already. Now I've just got to put the little dotted lines in and see where I think this 35 is supposed to be there. I'm going to put on my show hide. Do you see the rest already has tabs in between and this one doesn't? So I'm just going to add a tab over there. Right, now last steps to actually add the dotted lines. I'm going to select all the text, all of it, not just one line. And then I'm going to edit the tabs. Fastest way to get there is to double click on this little tab icon, but you have to click low enough to have the right menu pop up. If you click too high, it actually opens the whole paragraph menu. Right, the one I want to change is the 6 centimeter one. So I click on the 6 centimeter one, then I say, all right, alignment needs to stay the same, but the leader needs to be a 2. Then I say set, and I can say, okay. If there was anything else I had to change, like say for example I had to change the 14 centimeter one, I could have just clicked on it, changed it to whatever I needed, and then say set. I'm finished with that, and there you go. That's much easier to do tabs, hey? I hope you agree, tell me. Right, last one, apply a 3-point, that was 4 things. Let's just see, we did a left tab, we did lines, we did a center tab, and we entered a tab between the 70 and the 35. Yes, 4 marks. Right, 1.9. Apply a 3-point page border to the document and set the top margin to appear 12 points from the text. All right, let's go have a look. So, page border. Just search here. Page borders. All right. So, I've got to apply some kind of box. All right, so it's all around. They said it needs to be 3 points thick, so let's change this to 3 points. Now, just beware, sometimes it doesn't, depending on what kind of borders you're working with, it doesn't automatically actually change. If you've already applied it, you have to like re-click it. So just check that the preview is actually the color or the size or the shape or the whatever that you want. All right, that looks good. Now, they had this funny extra instruction. Let's see. The top margin should appear 12 points from the text, and text is underlined. That means that's important. All right, so I assume we'll have to go to options, right? Okay, and, okay, top, left, bottom, right, and measure from, edge of page versus text. That's why the text was underlined. And now I can go set this to 12 points. Just beware, if you first set 12 points and then change the measure from, it actually removes your settings. Okay, so just be careful for that. Now I'll say okay, and there we go. We're done. All right, I'm quickly going to check the comments and see who has asked what. I hope you're enjoying it so far. Yes, the live stream will be saved. The memo is already available. If you actually open, Daniel, you asked, the memo is already available. If you look at the comments video, then you'll see I've got a link to the question paper, the memo, as well as the data. I've already checked the memo so that I know what I'm showing you is actually correct. But I'm showing as much as I can the kind of things that I know that other people struggled with, because I've had a few students try it already. Sydney, I'll try to go a bit slower. I don't want to go too slow. If I'm going too fast, and for most people, if there's like a specific thing that you're struggling with, I might be going too fast. I just don't want to lose anyone's attention. Perhaps just pause the video a bit, maybe change the speed to 0.75, but I'll try to be a bit slower. Are there any other questions regarding question 1? Was anything that I did strange or weird, or like how did I know to do that from the question? Everyone happy? Okay, I don't see any comments, so I'm assuming you're happy. Okay, let's please save on this icon. Guys, it'll only happen to you once in your life that you press this close and by accident click don't save. If this happens to you in the final exam, we can't give you more time. Oh, I'm not showing my screen. There you go. We can't give you more time if you accidentally clicked don't save. You have to actually click save, but if you do this and you're in a hurry, you might make a mistake. Please use this save button. Okay. Someone's asking, how do you do a gutter on the page borders? Gutter margins are usually here by layout. This is where you change the gutter margins, but I'm not sure whether, I don't think it's got specifically to do with the page borders. But here, if I set a gutter, it'll show that. Basically, what the gutter does is if you have a booklet fold, then it changes the size of the, I think gutter is, I'm actually not sure now. I think it's the one that actually makes like a little bit of an extra space so that you can staple it in that corner. Right, Daniel, let me quickly check the memo. I'm just going to see, is the comment, I'm sure the, you know what, I'll do it afterwards. Let me just check. I'm just quickly going to check. Don't know if I can see my comment now. There it is. Okay, if I go to that, let me just show you. So if I go to that address that I put in the link, there's the June 2023. These that say MG is the marking guidelines. That's the memo. Okay, it's probably because you don't know the funny name that they use. Right. Okay, let me just fix my layout again. All right, let me carry on. I'd prefer to just take questions regarding this paper for now. At the end, I'll stay on a bit longer today, or maybe we can do something tomorrow again. And then you can ask me any questions that's like random different stuff. All right, so I've said save, close. My close button is there, your close button is there. All right, question 2. A document was created with information about Table Mountain. Open the Table Mountain to Mountain word processing document. Insert your exam number in the header this time. Right, so to Mountain. I have not drank enough water today. And I'm going to put it in the header. Michaela, just check in the comments of the video. Maybe it doesn't show up as a hyperlink, but it starts with HTTP. Then you should be able to find it there. Otherwise, afterwards, let me just pop that in the chat. I'm sure that was the same link. There's the link. Okay, there you go. Right, in the header, my exam number, blah, blah, blah. All right, just want to give you a warning. There was some exam at some point where the place where you put your exam number in was actually under an object, like under a picture or under a something. That was completely fine. You don't need to change the object. The point is just so that it's there, so that if something is wrong, they can actually go and track whose paper this was. Right. Let's start. First question, in question 2. Add the text mountain as the subject to the file properties of the document. All right, so file properties and subject mountain. Just going to keep the paper in front of me here. I've got a little printout of it because I forget things very quickly. Let's have a look. So file, info. This is where I find the properties. Here's all the properties. I don't see anything with subject, so I'll have to go to show all properties. And there is subject, right? And they said it should be mountain. Enter. Okay. Now it should still be there if I go there again. Since I pressed entered. Yes. All right. You should actually be able to just type it and then carry on. Right. The next question. Replace the picture. Important. Replace. Okay. Instructions like that, they're actually that particular that you can't just put a new picture in. If they said replace, then you have to use the replace command. Then it means the size has to be similar, or either the height or the width will be the same as the existing picture. Replace the picture on the cover page with a to-table picture. Right, let's do that first. So, to replace a picture, I right-click, change picture from a file, and then I go choose the file. If you've actually used the same link a few times, you'll see it always pops up here in your quick access toolbar so that you don't have to go and search for it everywhere. Right, and they said I need to replace it with to table, insert. Right, so you see the height stayed the same, the width changed, but that doesn't matter. We can see that way that you actually used replace. Right, they say apply any half reflection effect to this picture. Okay, so reflection effects we can all get on the picture format tab. Remember, if there's an on-demand ribbon that pops up, odds are the things you need is actually over there. So the effects are here. This is where reflection is. Now they specifically said half a reflection. Now let's zoom out and see. I don't know. I don't think any of these reflections actually has a name. There we go. Tight reflection, touching, half reflection. Aha, okay. I'm actually not even pretending. I didn't actually see the fact that it was only half reflection when I was doing it in my class earlier today. So I only read it afterwards. Okay, it's small little things like that that you don't see. You just think it's any reflection effect. But that little one word extra changes what you need to do. All right, so we're done with 2.2. 2.3, insert automatic page numbers to display as shown below. Remember, there's a screenshot. Usually there's some kind of notes after it. Right, note, page numbers should not appear in section 1. Right, so that's what we need to do for 3 marks. Let's see how many things we need to do. So it's in the footer, yes, and it says as shown below, so it's got little dashes on either side. Right, so let's go. Right click, edit footer. They said it should not appear in section 1. Let's go insert it in section 2. Right, and I'm going to go to page number. I'm in header and footer, page number, bottom of page, and let's see if there is a template that looks like that. So you'll see for this one, I don't use my roll wheel on the mouse. I actually use the scroll bars, because if you actually use the roll wheel, it sometimes skips some of the options. All right, let's see. Okay, there's one that's similar, tildes. Okay, but it's not that. Okay, I actually don't see one that looks exactly like that, and it didn't give me like a name of a format. So you can actually just insert a plain number and put a little dash on either side, or if I were you, I would use the tildes option and actually change this to a dash. There you go. All right. Now they said the page number should not appear in section 1. Let me show you what's happening at the moment. At the moment, I've got page numbers in section 2 as well as section 1. I'm going to zoom out a bit more, then you can see them on the same page. There you go. It's in section 2 and it's in section 1. Because in my header and footer, link to previous is still selected. Whatever I change here will also change in section 1. You see that? So to be able to change them separately, I need to untick or like deselect link to previous, which is the default. So I'm standing in section 2 and I'm removing the link to previous so that now I can actually edit them independent from one another. So now, just to show you, if I put an underline, it doesn't actually happen on both. Okay, so that means now I can remove the page numbers from section 1. So I'm just going to delete it, backspace, doesn't matter, either or. Okay, in section 2, let me just double check what needs to happen. It said, insert automatic page numbers to display as shown below. Section 2, 1, page number should not appear in section 1. Right, it's not appearing in section 1, but I think this is supposed to start with a 1. Okay, so to do that, you'll see when I select it, it actually shows the 0 as a gray field. That's what it means. It means there's a field. In the class, when we mark, we actually use these codes to check that it's actually a page number. Do you see there? So you can't just go replace it with a 1, because then just everything will be a 1. We want to change this to a number 1 as a field. Right, now if you're very good, you can actually right-click and choose format page numbers, but I find this one is very difficult to click on the exact right position. So we go to page numbers over here and format page numbers. Okay, Tian and Rochelle, you can actually talk offline, please. Okay. All right, format page numbers. Then I can change this to start at 1. Just keep in mind, if you get a paper that doesn't already have page numbers and you go to format page numbers, it doesn't show until you actually insert a page number. Right, start at 1. There you go. All done. Let me switch off my show hide. See, okay, and nothing in section 1. Right, so I'm going to close header and footer, and let's carry on. Right. 2.4, insert a table of contents using the distinctive format below the heading question 2.4 to appear as follows. So let's just find it. Oh, it's this one. Okay. Below the heading. All right, so it'll be here. Now, let's have a look. It says Table Mountain, history, hiking, free walking guides, facts, access, blah, blah, blah. All right. It said we need to be careful, ignore the format of the page numbering if it's different. Right, so that doesn't matter. If it doesn't actually show the little dashes on either side, it doesn't matter. Right, so we're going to insert a table of contents. So table of contents, that's on the references tab. And in Matric, I have never seen a paper where you insert one of these automatic ones. It is always a custom table of contents. Right, so custom table of contents. From the question, it seems that there are only 2 levels. Do you see that cableway, cable car, and free walking guides are all slightly, on your side, indented? Ne? So that means they're all like the second level of a heading that's in this table of contents. And the rest are all on the same level, so that means they are all heading 1s. Okay, we have a page number. It seems like a solid line, but they said it must be the distinctive format. Right, so let's choose distinctive format over here, and it looks like 2 levels. Ne? Okay, now we say okay. It doesn't show everything I need. Let's have a look. It actually shows like hardly anything I need. There's not just one missing. You see, it actually says Table Mountain, history, hiking. That's there. But none, fact, access, and cableway, all there. So none of the sub-headings are actually showing at the moment. So let's go have a look what's going on. If I go down, let's see, the first one is under hiking, hey? So let's control-click, go to hiking. Here's the free walking guide that's supposed to be in the table of contents. Table sub. So it's not heading 2, it's actually table sub. Now, how do I know whether I need to change it to heading 2 or whether I need to use table sub in my table of contents? Let me show you. So let's just double check another one. Cableway, yes, it's also table sub. All right, so if there was just one heading missing, then I would say apply the same style as the rest have. So let's say all of them were heading 2s, but one of them were missing, then I would apply heading 2 to that one heading that's not showing. Because I can see all of the subheadings actually use a different style, that means I've got to build the table of contents from a different style. So, to edit an existing table of contents, we can right-click and choose Edit Field, go to TOC, and choose Table of Contents. This does exactly the same as when you go to Table of Contents, Custom Table of Contents. It opens exactly the same thing. One can't see with this option whether you're just editing it or inserting a new one, because it's going to ask us, do you want to replace it anyway? Right, so it's distinctive, it's 2 levels, but heading 2 is the wrong heading that should be showing. So let's go to Options. And now we've got to find distinctive. Again, here as well, I find the scroll bar sometimes misses things. Here's table sub. Aha. So table sub is now a TOC level 2. There were no heading 2s, so I can remove that or I can leave it. It's not going to make a difference. Okay. It's got a line. It's got the numbers. It's the distinctive format. It looks good. Let's say OK. Replace. Yes. And there you go. Right. 2.5. Find the text question from 2.5 below the heading Table Mountain and replace this text with a cross-reference. Okay, let's just go and find the text first. Table Mountain, they said. Okay, here it is. Select it without anything else, hey? They said replace this text with a cross-reference, right, to the bookmark cableway. That's the object that we need to cross-reference to. But we need to display only the page numbers. Okay, so let's go search cross-reference. It's on the References tab over here, as well as on the Insert tab, or we can just search it, cross-reference. Right, the cross-reference menu always works in a U form. So you first need to choose what type of thing are you referring to. So I'm referring to a bookmark, right? Now I'm going down in the U. Which bookmark am I referring to? It was cableway. Yes. The last step is actually optional. It's not always there, but if there's like a specific thing that needs to display and not necessarily the whole text or just part of the text or below or above or a number or something, then we go and we complete the U and we actually go check here. Insert reference to bookmark text, no, page number. Okay, then we could include the word above or below, but this question didn't ask for that. So we just say insert and close. Do you see? Now it says see page 7, and that 7 is clickable. You can actually go there. Shortcut to go back after you followed a link is Alt and your left arrow. Right. I hope everyone's learning a few things from here. Have you tried the paper before? Everyone's telling me where they're from, but they're not telling me if they actually tried the paper before. Let me know if you've tried the paper before, if what I'm showing you is actually helping. Yeah. And remember, it says, how do you insert a bookmark? You're supposed to put a Q in front of your questions, eh? But at least there are not so many, so far I can keep track. How do you insert a bookmark into the current Word document from another Word document? All right, so what that is that's usually a question where they ask for a hyperlink to another document bookmark. For that, you'll insert it on a Word link and then choose the document and go choose the bookmark. Then it shows you which bookmarks are in that document. This document doesn't have any. Right. Okay, I'm glad. And let me know if you've done the paper before. I hope you have. If you haven't, it's always best to first try a paper and then see the solutions so that you actually learn from your mistakes. It's literally like the science of learning. So then you have to go to the Home tab and open the paragraph dialog box from there. Right, so line and page breaks. Let's see. So they said we need to, what was their wording? They said it must always remain together. Okay, altyd moet saam bly. Right, so it's not just the lines that must remain together. Because if I say keep lines together, what will happen is it won't split any paragraphs that have more than 3 lines into 2. Okay, so keep with next links the one paragraph to the next paragraph and actually keeps them together on the same page. So I have to click both of those. Keep with next, let's just say okay, and I'll show you. Keep with next is basically like a link or a lock that this paragraph will be kept with the next one. Okay, and the keep lines together will ensure that a paragraph like this that has 4 lines won't split in the middle. The widow orphan control is the one that controls that this paragraph with 3 lines won't leave 1 line at the top or at the bottom of a page. Okay, happy days. 2.7. Find the numbered list below the heading Facts. Right. In the multi-level list dialog, a style table list appears below the option List Styles. All right, now if you read this fast, I'm not going to pretend to be messing it up, but what most of my students have done was that they just said, okay, it seems that it's multi-level list and we need to change the second level to a bullet symbol. Okay, so what everyone else did, or most of them, was they went to the list, they selected the whole list, and they went to multi-level list and went to define a new multi-level list. And there they added the second level and they added a symbol, which you can do over here, new bullet. But if you actually read carefully, you'll see this question is phrased different than the normal multi-level list questions, if you've done a few of them before. So that is a clue that this is kind of a new question. When a question is brand new, then they like include a crazy amount of detail. This is a brand new question. It's never been asked before. You'll probably get something like this in the final paper as well. You just need to read slowly and actually then follow where you need to go. So it says, find the numbered list. We've got the numbered list. Okay. It says in the multi-level list dialog. Okay. So that is this little thingy. Not a new multi-level list. This must be the multi-level list dialog. Because if I hover over it, it actually says multi-level list. No? Right. In this dialog, a style table list appears below the option List Styles. Okay, let's see. List Styles, do you see that? And if I hover over this one, it says Table List. Okay, now it says in the table list style. So what we're doing is we're actually changing this style. We need to change the number style of the second level to a bullet, character code 77 of Webdings. Right, and it actually says, hint, hover over the list below list styles to view the names. Okay, so I'm going there and I'd say, do you see, it says table list. Now if I need to edit this, what do you think I've got to do? Right click, no? Right click, modify. Okay, all right, this looks new. We've never been here, we've never seen this. Don't stress. If it's something brand new, it has to be easy enough that you can figure it out just by reading the instructions carefully. Right, we need to change the second level. No? Here or here, we can actually change it to a symbol. I'm going to do it the traditional way so that you know how to do it in the other menu as well. We go to new bullet and we then go choose. You'll first have to change Webdings. Mine's showing that because I tried it recently. So it'll first open up on normal text. So you've got to change it to Webdings. No. New bullet. Okay, change it to Webdings. It's alphabetical. And then you put in 77 over there. Now, just a note, if the symbol doesn't show up with a code that you've put in, then it means this is set to the wrong type. It can either be decimal or it can be hex, but they never specify this in the paper. You just need to know you can change that. So if I say 77 and I'm on hex, it gives me a completely different symbol. You see that? So I need to change it back to decimal and then go to 77. And there I've got the right picture. Okay. And that's on the second level. Happy days. Okay. All right, so that was a weird question, but if you read carefully and slowly, you'll be fine. All right, is everyone still there? I hope so. Let's finish question 2. Almost done with that one. Okay, find the picture below the heading Access and make the following changes. Let's go find it. There you go. All right, this picture. Format the picture layout to that of the bending picture blocks SmartArt graphic. Okay, let's try that. So I don't know if one can change it to a SmartArt from here. Let's see if we say SmartArt. Okay, they said it needs to be picture bending list. So now we need to hover over these until we find the one that says, oh, this is already bending picture caption. No, what did it say? Bending picture blocks. Okay, no. Aha, bending picture blocks. There you go. Right, let's say okay. I don't know. Some of the students in my class actually managed to get this converted to a SmartArt. I don't know. It happened to another person that it didn't work. So clearly this picture is not inside the SmartArt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save the picture. Save as. There has to be an easier way, I'm sure. If you know how to like immediately make it a SmartArt, like an element in the SmartArt, please comment and let me know. All right. So file name, I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm going to remove this picture. And now I need to insert it here. Okay. From a file, I just saved it. Did I? Yes? Ah, there it is. Okay, insert. All right, now the rest I don't need, so I'm going to remove the rest. Super important that if you work with SmartArt to actually, you see this little button on the side, to work on this in this like bulleted list kind of thing. This is the only place where you should be editing. Right, it says insert the text view in the shape that is part of the SmartArt graphic. All right, view. Okay, and it says format the size of the SmartArt graphic, so the whole SmartArt graphic, to be exactly 7 centimeters high and 10 centimeters wide. Right, so I'm going to select my whole graphic. I'm not just going to change one of them. If you did, let's say by accident I now messed it up and I made this 7 centimeters. Oh, come on. 7. Ooh, wrong. No, that wasn't the one I was supposed to change. So I can actually, instead of undo, I can click here, reset graphic. Can't you copy and paste the picture? I don't know. Let's see. I'll try that just now. And the centimeters, if you find it in inches, I'll show you just now, fortunate. Okay. All right, so I was able to reset the graphic over here. And I can go to format, and this is where I can change the size to 7 centimeters exactly by 10 centimeters. There you go. There it's right. Okay, I'm going to save and just undo and see if I'm able to copy that. So let's cut that and paste. Hey, you're right, hey? Okay, see, I never try the easy way. Thanks, hey? All right, so you could have just copied it, pasted it, and then said view and change it here to 7 by 10. All right. Just finishing this quickly, then I'll show you the inches one. Find the text box above the map, okay, above the map, that contains the subheading Table Mountain National Park, right? So there you go. Okay. Adjust the text and the text box so that it appears on the map image as follows. Okay, so it needs to be on top, and it says Table Mountain and then National Park map. I can see this is a small caps effect. Okay, so and it's 2 marks. Let's see. So I've got to put the text this side, turn it, and let's see what's going to be 2 marks. So the one will be that everything needs to fit into the little container shape. National Park needs to be on the next line, so we can probably make it just a bit smaller and then it goes. Otherwise, I could have probably put in Shift Enter if it was necessary. And now I need to turn it. Now, if you turn these things, it's actually like There you go. Did you know if you put in shift, like if you hold shift in while you turn, then it does like exact angles, 45, 90, or whatever. Okay, but if I click here now and I'm typing, then it goes straight again. This is very confusing. So another way of turning it, that's for some people it's easier, is shape format, and this is here by rotate. Then you can rotate it easily. Rotate like that. Let's just switch off our show hide again and put it on top of the map. Okay, that looks roughly right, but for safety's sake, I'm going to try to put it like, you see there, the national is in line with that little marker. Let's try that just for safety. And table starts right here by the edge of the map. So it's something like that, I think. National. Let's see. It's actually a bit further in. Okay, now I know from checking the memo that they weren't that specific with this question, but sometimes they are that specific when it's like putting in a text box or something like that. All right, I'm going to show the last question now, but that's not in Word. So let me just quickly show you in Word how to change change it to centimeters if you're in inches. If anyone has any other questions about this to mountain, please post it now with a Q in front. Right, so save, and let's see, file, options, and I think it's here by general, no, display, is it under advanced then? There you go, under advanced in the file options, fortunate, just check there. That's where you can change the units to centimeters instead of inches. Right, any other questions, people? Are everyone happy with? Is everyone or everyone? You can hear I'm actually Afrikaans, hey? Okay, excuse my grammar. Let's save and close. Right, question 2.10. Now you've got to concentrate. If you were zoning out, please concentrate now. This question, where we've got a zipped file, has been in every single paper in the last 2-3 years. You have to know how to do this because it's almost like a guaranteed question. Right, so we've got zipped file. Here it is. Okay, they said extract the two dates file by using the password #D/M. Right, double click it. And if your computer, because of the network settings, gives you any kind of warning before you get to this self-extracting archive, don't worry, just say yes to the warning. Okay, it's fine, don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Okay, or call your teacher if it's not working. Now we can say extract. Oh, it keeps showing on my primary monitor. Sorry, guys. Okay, the other one just shows how much it's extracted. So it was #D/M, and I've got to be sure that my caps lock isn't on when I do that. So show password, check that you're right. Okay, and you see what it's done. It's actually extracted this Word file. Can be more than one file, out of the zip archive. Now there's actually some instructions of what I need to do. I need to sort the table according to the dates on which the places were opened, starting with the most recent one. Okay, let's open this file. Okay, I need to start with the most recent, so that'll be like the most recent, hey? No, 2018 will be the most recent. Okay, let's see. I'm going to select my whole table. I love using this little four-headed arrow at the corner when I work with tables. That's always the best. And I go to layout and I say sort. The only time I wouldn't do that when I'm sorting is if I've got like two headings and I just want to use the one heading or some of the rows to sort. Then I'll just select those rows. Okay, so we'll say sort. We can search sort as well, doesn't matter. Okay, now my list has a header row. Yes, I want to sort by date opened. Okay, type date, it picked it up automatically, awesome. Ascending, descending. Ascending is usually from small to large, hey? And numbers, a smaller number will have an earlier date than a larger number, if you remember from Excel. So it's going to be descending. There you go. Okay, you could have done it first ascending and then you see it's wrong and then just change it to descending. Okay, and in Afrikaans, guys, dalend descending. Remember that, DD. Descending is dalend. Okay. All right, I'm already getting out of breath. Let me quickly see. I haven't got any other questions here, have I? Everyone happy? No questions? Okay. Let's carry on with Excel. I'm trying to go a little bit slower, but I forget from time to time. So, excuse me. All right. No further questions, eh? Okay, we're all good. Right, question 3. Now, instructions. We need to use formula and functions or functions for all calculations in the spreadsheet. So that means we'll get no marks if we actually use a manual calculator to calculate anything and enter it. No marks whatsoever. Are the dates in the table formatted? I think they were already formatted. No, they weren't formatted. Formatted dates can only be formatted in Excel and Access. It was literally just typed in the same format of like short date, like first the year, then the month, then the day. Okay, I think as long as they're all typed in the same order, it'll be fine. You can only set formatting of dates in a field. I'll just quickly show you that. Okay, we're gonna do, okay, whatever your username is, Xlookup I'll discuss with you just now. We don't have to have Xlookup because it doesn't work in most of the software that learners use. Okay, back to the dates in the table. If we go and we insert a date, okay, this is where we can set formats. If your language is set to English, there you go. I can insert it and I can say update automatically. If I change the format, I can right click and say edit field, and this is where I can change the format to something manual that I want to change differently. Those dates in that table, let's just have a look, I'm sure. Yes, it's not fields, it's just typed. It's just plain text. So as long as they're all typed in the same order, it picks it up as dates. If it doesn't pick it up as dates, check that they're all in the same order, and maybe just choose specifically that you want to sort dates. Okay. Right, we'll get to an Xlookup / there's a VLOOKUP in the paper that I can show you a Xlookup variation. All right. So for Excel, we always need to use formulas and functions. Okay. Only use absolute cell referencing when it's necessary. Okay, I'll show you where we kind of need it. It's basically when we need to anticipate copying the formula to right or left or up or down, and then we want a certain part not to change. Okay. This is very important. Insert formula and or functions in such a manner that the correct results will still be obtained even if the values are changed in the existing data. Yes, the live stream will be available afterwards. Don't worry. Okay. Even if the values are changed in the existing data. Right. So I'll show you an example where that is applicable. Just please keep that in the back of your mind. Right. Should you need to use building blocks, basically splitting the formula or the function up into pieces, use the space allocated in the spreadsheet file. Right. So 3 marathon. Let's open that up. First question says, open the 3 marathon spreadsheet. Let's just read. It contains details about the top 50 qualifying athletes for the 2023 Oceans Meet Marathon. Okay, number 1, delete sheet 3 from the workbook. All right, so am I going to do a question on Excel? I'm busy doing the question on Excel, and I'll show you the Xlookup when we get there. Okay, delete. So delete the sheet, ne? There you go. Right, next one is work in the participant worksheet. Okay, set the print area to cells A12 to E62. Right, so A12 to E62, you select them. All right, and now I need to set the print area. You can search print area. There's set print area. Okay, if you don't know where to find it otherwise, or your search doesn't work that well, it's on the page layout tab. That's where set print area is. Okay, then next one says add the text marathon logo as the alt text of the image in cell A3. Right. So cell A3, picture format, I can go do it here. There's alt text. I can right click and choose edit alt text. And then I can insert, they said, what was it? Marathon, I think. Just quickly getting that page in front of me, then I don't have to stop the whole time and check. It was marathon logo. Right, remember alternative text is actually there. Marathon logo. Alternative text is actually there for people who use screen readers, so people who are visually impaired. A screen reader will read the description in the alternative text. Right. In the older versions of Excel and Word, it's not always as easy as right-clicking and going to edit alt text. I'm assuming it was somewhere under size and format, or if you go to format picture, no, let's see here. If I click on the size, if I open the size and properties, no, it's still not giving me everything I want. No, I think it must have been here somewhere. I can't remember where it was in the previous programs, I'm sorry. But now, I think in the versions that everyone should be on at their schools by now, it should have this edit alt text when you right click. Okay, sorry for fiddling. And you'll know this was actually content that we did in Word, not in Excel, but that's what they do to make it more difficult, is they ask something that you studied in the one program and they ask you to apply it in another program. Right, insert a function in cell F5. Let's go there first. F5, there you go. And they said we need to have a function that determines the average qualifying time. Okay, so qualifying time, let's see. Ah, here it is, column I. So they didn't tell us, we had to actually look at the headings of the table ourselves. So the average qualifying time, I prefer working straight up there in the formula bar, just so that it never types over something in the other columns. So I can say average, tab to autocomplete the name that I've just selected with the blue. Let me just show you. So if I type and I'm halfway, I can use my arrows to move down to the one that I want, and I press tab to complete the name. Right. Now the ones that I need to do is the average qualifying time. So I click on the first one and I can scroll and I can just select all the rest. Now life hack is if you click on the first one and you use Control Shift arrow down, it actually goes down all the way to the bottom, as long as there aren't any empty cells. Okay, just remember that, no empty cells. It only works if there's no empty cells. Right, average, happy days. Right, now we're getting to the difficult ones. Is the average if function part of what we know? I doubt it, but it's not impossible that they could ask that at some point, because the syntax is exactly the same as a sum if. If you can do a sum if or a sum ifs, you can do an average if. So, can you please do the functions and formulas in the fx space as well? I'll do that. I'm especially going to show it when we do nested functions. So I like starting with a name first, if I know the name of the function, and then only going, once I've opened the bracket, then only going to fx, and then I can select what I need to select. Okay, otherwise I've got to choose it from scratch. Okay, I'll do one just now when we have one like that. Okay, next one. Okay, is going to be a formula. Right. Just remember, a formula has, it's one of two things. It can either just be like normal maths, where it's plus, minus, times, divide, or it's where you combine more than one function. So any nested functions where you have like more than one function using together, one nested inside of the other one, or like a max minus the min or something like that, that would also be counted or seen as a formula. All right, let's see what it says. The distance of the race. Now, if you do this, sorry for interrupting myself the whole time. I have ADHD, as you can probably see. Right, when you're working with a paper like this, I'm just going to get an example quickly. So let's say here I've got an older paper, just going to transition quickly. Let me see. Right. So I'm working with a paper here. It's very good practice to actually either have a ruler with you or really like read like a toddler with your finger on the page. Like no jokes. You literally go, you read the part that you need to do, and every time it refers to a cell or like a column, you stop there with your finger. Okay? Stop there with your finger. And then you look up and you first look at the sheet to see what they're talking about. Don't try to read the whole thing in one go. Unless you're really, really good, I don't think you're going to manage. I don't even manage like that. Okay? But okay, I have ADHD. So you start, you read, you stop where it says where it is and go look. First, just look on the sheet. Or use a ruler so that you don't lose track of where you actually are and you have to read through everything again. Okay. I'm getting myself out of breath here. Let's carry on. Back to seeing my screen. Okay, the distance of the race is stored in cell F3. F3. Okay, there you go. Now, for every complete 5 kilometers from the starting point of the race, a medical station will be placed on the route. Okay. The start and finish points will also have a medical station. Okay. So let's imagine now, let's say a race was only like 12 kilometers long. That means that'll have a is it a medical station? Medical station at 5 kilometers, at 10 kilometers, and also at 1 and 12, because it'll be at the start and the end. Right. So now they say, insert a formula in cell F8 to calculate how many stations will be placed on the route. So F8, I need to calculate how many stations. So it will be this number divided by every 5 kilometers, am I right? Okay, plus 2 for the start and the finish, I think. Okay, remember, because of order of operations, the divide will be done first, and then the adding will be done. So if you're unsure, you can always put whatever you need in brackets to be done first. Okay, just give me 1 second. I just want to double check the memo because my math is really not very good. Okay, that was 3 point. Ooh, do you see what we missed? Round down. Okay. I'm not reading properly. Okay. Now this one was kind of implied, I suppose. Let's just see the paper again if we missed it somewhere. It's stored, we need to know how many stations will be applied. Sure. Okay, that's a tough one. But all right, you can't place 13 stations there. Okay. And you'll never place like one more, you'll place one less. So now we need to add a round down. Okay, so even though we're using a function, it still stays a formula because we have divide plus as well. Right. So I want to round down the answer of this whole formula, right? So I'm going to insert round down at the start. And round down needs its own open arrow, open bracket, okay? So, open bracket for round down. This is the number that we are rounding down. Do you see my tooltip over here? Okay, this is the number that we're rounding down. But I'm not done with round down yet. If we open FX, you'll see the number of digits still needs to be inserted. So, let's say it'll be 0. Okay. And we say, okay. So what you could also have done is, so now the answer is complete. You could also have cut this, Control X, inserted a round down, and then go to Function Builder and actually put that in number and say you want 0 number of digits. Okay. Other option would have been to actually insert the calculation itself in a building block over here, and then use the round down, just referring to that with 0 decimals. Okay. Is everyone still there? Why concatenate? Concatenate actually adds text functions together. Right, A12. Okay, I think you may be talking about something. Oh, for 3.6, sorry. Okay, I'll check that just now. VLOOKUP functions and combination function into one table. Are you talking to Alex? Right, I see, sorry. Okay. Is there something you can do if you don't know the function name? Yes, there is. Go to the Formulas tab, and if you know it's got something to do, especially like with text or dates, like there's so many different ones to remember, just check here if there's anything that sounds familiar. If you hover over it, it actually tells you what it does as well. So don't do this unless you like really have a lot of time left over. But if you just like need a memory jog, you can check here. Do any of these look familiar? Is it maybe time I needed? That's what it does. Do you see? So then it tells you what it does. Logical will be all your O, if, and there's an if, NA, ifs, not C. Okay, that's how it works. All right, thank you, VD. I'll check that. You say grade 12, 2021 prelim. On my videos, I'm assuming the prelim, I moved some of the data. So I'm sorry, I'll fix that. Grade 12, 2021. Right. So that's what you can do if you need to jog your memory with the functions. Let me just check quickly if there's are any other questions regarding Excel so far now. All right, we'll do concatenate just now. We'll see if we need it. I can't remember. Otherwise, I'll show you just now. All right. Let's carry on with the next question. Oh, here we need concatenate. All right, we can use concatenate or we can use an ampersand. Right, 3.6. Each of the 50 athletes will receive a special entry number. Okay. Generate an entry number. The moment we need to generate something, it's kind of like a giveaway that it's concatenate or an and sign where you like adding together parts of the like unique number or whatever for that athlete or whatever, person or employee or whatever. Right, generate an entry number in cell B20 for the athlete CUDA or CUDA as follows. Right, let's just go. Where's CUDA? No, hold on, here. Okay, they said B20, sorry, that's B20. Okay, so it needs to start with a number between 1 and 50. Right, so let's think, how do we do that? We say rand between, not rand array, rand between 1 and 50. 1 and 50 is actually included in that, okay? So, rand between. The next thing we need to do is we need to use the followed by the first 2 letters of the athlete's name. Okay, so now we can't say plus like we can with numbers. We can use an and sign. Okay, so the ampersand. If you want, you can do this in separate cells in your building blocks as well. So to get the first 2 letters, they said the athlete's name, right? Yeah, of the athlete's name, we'll use left because we're starting, the first starts at left, or the left side, hey? So left, bracket open, and now I can see left needs 2 arguments. The first argument is what text. Now let's say I can't remember, I'm not sure what to put there. If I use function builder now, because I was clicked by the left, it actually opens the arguments for left. If I click at rand between, it opens the arguments for rand between. So I'm back at left. Okay, so text, here it tells me what to do. Is the text string containing the characters you want to extract? Okay, so it's basically like, where is it? It's there. Numchars is number of characters. It specifies how many characters you want left to extract. 1 if omitted. So if you don't type anything in, it will automatically just use 1. And you'll see this one isn't bold, which means it's not a required argument. But I'm going to put in 2, otherwise it's just going to remove 1. I'll tell you just, let me just focus on one thing. All right, so we've got a random number between 1 and 50, the first 2 letters of the name, and then they didn't say uppercase or lowercase or anything like that. Then the registration number. Okay, and the registration number, is this one, the first column. So we use and again, and the registration number. Okay, now if I wanted to use concatenate instead of the ampersand, concatenate works like this. You type concatenate right at the start. Concatenate is actually the older version. If you just use concat, it's exactly the same. So we start with concat, and you'll see it says text 1, text 2, text 3. So the first text that it needs to combine is ran between, then, comma, the second piece of text it needs to combine. Let me just show you. The second piece of text will now not just be, it will be left, and the third piece will be A20. Okay, I'll show you here in FX. I just like using the ampersand instead of concatenate. It's completely up to you. Okay, so if I just used concat, I could put the different things that I'm combining in text 1, text 2, text 3. Right, so you can do it that way as well. And you could have done, if you wanted to, you could do ran between here 1 and 50. Okay, and then just use that value instead of the left, or instead of the ran between, sorry. If I did that though, I would use absolute cell referencing so that that it's a function that would be able to go down, but I don't know if that's going to work because everybody mustn't have the same number. So no, I think in this case it would actually be better if I do the ran between for all the cells and I just use the one on my row number. So use the one on this row for my random number. Now it's 11 again. Can you believe it? See, there you go, 34. All right, let me just take a question or two. So the and, I'm using the and instead of the concatenate out of personal preference. They didn't say it has to just be functions. They said generate. They didn't say how. Okay. And in any way, the moment I use more than one function, it actually it's called a formula then, because you use more than one. The reason I used left was because I wanted to extract from the start of the cell. So from the start of the cell is on the left side of the text. That's why I used left. Okay. If I want to extract from the right side, I would use right. If I want to extract from the middle, I would use MID, mid. Okay. The difference between round down and trunk. Trunk also has 2 arguments. The second one just isn't compulsory. Plus, I'm not sure. I know round down is not available in Access. Trunk might be. Don't know. The big thing, the big one that's different is int. Int just allows 0 decimal round down. It doesn't do other variations. Okay. I think I answered all the questions. John Jade, you were close to right. The only thing that worries me is that you've got semicolons in your function. That means either where you're practicing at home or where you're doing it at school is not set to the right regional settings. So let's quickly do that. Your regional settings on your home computer as well. If you search region settings, you go there and you choose additional date, time, and regional settings. Change date, time, or number formats. And then this is where we go to additional settings. Numbers must be on a full stop as the decimal symbol and a comma as the list separator. Currency, the same thing. Decimal symbol must be a full stop. Right. In Windows 11, it's like crazy difficult to get to this menu. I'm going to have to look it up again, and I'll put that in the comments. I'll also put the instructions there in general. Regional settings, Win 11. I'll remember to put that on afterwards. All right, everyone happy? Sorry, this is taking quite long. I see I've lost quite a few. About 40 people have already said, this is a bit long. I hope those 40 people come back afterwards or come watch it afterwards. Okay, just for their own sake, not for me. All right, let's carry on. I think after this question, I'll just give a 5-minute thing for general questions. Then if anyone wants to go to the loo or something, get a coffee or something in the meantime, then you can do that. Let's finish question 3. During the race, athletes will wear wristbands in different colors according to their age group. Insert a VLOOKUP function. All right, so this time they said we have to use a VLOOKUP function. They didn't say insert a lookup function. When they say a lookup function and the lookup isn't all caps, then it means it can be VLOOKUP, Xlookup, or HLOOKUP. Right, Xlookup is only available for Office 2021 and Office 365. I will show that just now, but it's actually not applicable for this specific question. And because there are so few schools who already use the latest software, I don't know how valuable that is. So I'll do that in the bathroom break time. Right, insert a VLOOKUP function. So they said we have to use a VLOOKUP. People, if you use an if when they said use a VLOOKUP, if they explicitly said a VLOOKUP, they give 0 marks. 0. Don't discard the main instruction. All right, insert a VLOOKUP function in cell J17. Let's just go there so long. J17, right. To display the color of the wristband that Lucky will wear. All right, let's just see. Band. Okay, here it shows the colors, the ages. All right, now I can see it doesn't have every single age. It just has intervals. And the order is in the correct order. It is actually starting for a VLOOKUP. It has to be from small to large. So it has to be ascending. It's in the right order. The first column has to be ascending. Okay, now let's see. I'll show you now the true or the false. Okay, use the data in the band worksheet. That's why I looked there. But it's always the next sheet or one of the sheets. Okay, copy the function down to the rest of the cells, so it has to work for the other ones as well. And this time we actually have to copy it down. Sometimes they just say, ensure that the function could copy down, can be copied down. This time they actually say copy down. All right, so we want the color of the wristband that Lucky will wear. Let's have a look. I'm in J17. This is Lucky. Based on what? So what I always do with VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP or whatever is I just go look it up with my own 2 eyes just to see what am I using. So for Lucky, his age is 64, right? I'm just going to make that red, or let's just color that in so you can see. His age is 64. Now I'm going to go to band. What band will he get? He will get a purple band, right? It's because I went down in the first column, I found 60, and then I chose purple. I chose the second column's answer. Okay, now keep that in mind. What I'm doing now is if I use a VLOOKUP, let's type it at the top, VLOOKUP, right? The first argument, lookup value, is what I have actually looked up. So I can use the function builder as well. This is the value to be found in the first column of the table. That's what I literally started with on this sheet. That's the lookup value. It's a single cell. It's not a range of cells. Right. The second thing, a table array, is the table or the text or numbers in which the data is retrieved. That's basically where am I going to go look it up? Where's the menu? Where's the list? The list is in the band sheet, and I can select all of it. It doesn't matter whether you select the headings with it. Technically, you only need the values. Okay. Now, column index number is the column number in the table array. You'll see I didn't click back to the sheet. It came back to the participant sheet automatically when I clicked to the next argument. Don't ever click around between the sheets because it changes this name there. Do you see this name there refers to the sheet name in your VLOOKUP? If I click to participants, do you see what it did? It changed the table array to be on the participants page, and it mustn't be. It must be on the band page, A2 to B6. Right. Column index number is I want the second column of answers back. Right. Range lookup. Now, I can choose true or false. If I leave it open, if it's omitted, do you see here it says or omitted, then it's true automatically. So most of the time you actually don't even need to fill in the last argument. They don't give a mark for that most of the time. In this case, it specifically needs to be true because it needs to find the closest match. If I had made it false, let me show you. If I made it false, it gives me a not applicable because there isn't an exact value 64 in that table. If I change it to true, or if I leave it out, you'll see there's no double quotation marks. Or if I leave it out, then it will actually go look up for the closest match. We'll see if I type it here, it shows me approximate match or exact match. I want an approximate match. Okay, now, if I want to be able to copy this down, let me quickly check. What values do I not want to move? If I go to the next cell, I want the next person's age to be used, correct? So the F17 has to move down. That means it has to stay relative cell referencing. The table array needs to stay the same for everyone, right? If I just go there to band, this table needs to stay the same for everyone. It can't suddenly go down to different rows over here. So this must not be relative cell referencing. This must be absolute cell referencing. So I select the table array and I press F4 on my keyboard. If you're working on a laptop, you'll need to use the Fn button together with the F4 because most of the time the laptop is set to do whatever is like displayed on the F4 button, like change the volume or change the brightness or something. And to actually use the F4, you need to press Fn. Okay, so if that's it, and now we need to copy it down. You'll see it's actually colored in. Do you see it shaded? When it's shaded like this, that's actually the way they also show you it has to be copied down. So I can drag it down, or because there are no spaces here, I could actually also just have double clicked with my black cross or black plus mark. Double click and it copies it down all the way for me anyway. All right, if you want to take a quick break and do a bathroom break, I'll take a few questions now. I'm going to explain Xlookup now. If you have Office 365 or Office 2021 at school, you'll know this. Office 365, the menu looks completely different. I'm quite sure you'll know. You have to sign in to use it. Office 2021, the search bar is at the top here instead of next to help. That's basically like the only way you can see. So if you're sure you have this, then it's worth sticking around for Xlookup. Otherwise, it's not. And then I'll take a few more questions. So let me first show the Xlookup. And the rest of you can go for a bathroom break if you want a bathroom break quick. Right, an Xlookup works like this. So I'm just going to do it in the cell next to it. Xlookup, we start with the lookup value, same. That's the lookup value that we want. The lookup array is in which range or which column basically does it need to look for this value. It needs to look for that in this column, right? And I don't want it to move down, so I'm going to press F4 immediately. You'll see while it's got this dotted line, if I then press F4, it automatically does it on the start and the end of the range. It does it to the A2 and the A6. Right, return array is where is the answer. It has to be the same number of cells. Where is the answer? The answer is in the wristband here, in column B. I'm going to make it absolute cell referencing again. And then I can say, if not found, I can actually give a message to say, match mode by default is false, that it actually looks for exact matches. If I remember correctly, you'll see it actually allows the function even if I didn't fill in any of the three other arguments, because they have square brackets, which means they're optional arguments. But I can leave the if not found open and actually make the match exact match or next smaller or next larger item. Then it's basically like true that it actually looks for the one next to or the next one or the one before it. But okay, do we need to know an Xlookup? No, you don't. Someone just asked about it. They allow you to use it, but you don't have to know it. So don't worry about it. I literally didn't even show my learners Xlookup. So if any one of them is watching or joining in at the moment, they haven't learned Xlookup. You don't need it. Okay. All right. Other questions. Let's see. When do you use true and false? I've shown you. If they didn't specify what to use, could we have used a nested if? Yes. If they said just look up the value, it'll be quite difficult. Let me show you. If I had to use a nested if, I would have to say if this is greater than or equals to that, then give me the answer purple. Otherwise, if, then I've got to go back, if this is greater than and equal to, oh no, this is so much work. Please, let's not do that. Okay. So yes, you could have used a nested if they did not even say use a lookup function, and they just said use a function or use a formula to do it. You can do it, but it's this is literally like looking one value up and comparing it to different values in a whole list. That's what VLOOKUP is made for. Okay. Any other questions? I've explained that. No. Who said you get an Xlookup on Wednesday? You can't get that. Okay, let me just explain why you can't. So Xlookup is only available in 2021 and 365. Unless your teacher is setting the paper themselves at your school and they wanted you specifically to know Xlookup, but it's not the rules. Because the Department of Education allows the last 3 versions of Excel or Office to be used. So you can use, I'll see if there's a nested if in Tumaleng, otherwise I'll do one at the end of the paper. Okay, I'll just write that down because that's a long thing to explain. Don't know if there's one in this paper. Otherwise, I'll show another example. Okay, so the last 3 versions will be Office 2021, Office 2019, and Office 2016. Office 2021 and Office 365 are seen as similar. So those are the versions that your school may have. And those are the versions that the exams have to accommodate. And 2019 and 2016 doesn't accommodate the newer functions like Xlookup. So no, it can't, it's not like a absolute must that you have to know the same as ifs. HLOOKUP is not necessary here, but you would have used HLOOKUP if the data looked like this. Let me show you. So if I'm going to copy this, good thing to know anyway, is to transpose. Transpose, oh come on, I hate it when it does that. Excel gives me that error all the time. Let me just try that again. Copy and transpose. No, oh, did I just copy that one? Let me try again, sorry. Ooh, you see it's not even showing, I'm selecting, but it's not even showing my selection. So I'm just gonna close this file and say save and open it back up again. Could I redo question 3.6? All right, I'll redo it now. Copy, and there's my transposed list. If the list looked like this, if the column or the area in which I'm looking it up is horizontal, then I'm going to use an HLOOKUP. And then the HLOOKUP would have looked like this. Oh, come on. HLOOKUP, this cell, comma, this table, this horizontal table with or without the headings. Make it absolute, and the second row has the answer, and I'm still not going to put, I don't need to put in true, or I can put in true for the last argument. That's how the HLOOKUP would have looked. By the way, you're not allowed to actually transpose the data. If they give you the data horizontally, then you have to use an HLOOKUP. If they give you the data vertically, you have to use a VLOOKUP. All right. CJ, you're asking like completely irrelevant questions now. Let's do random questions later at the paper. Okay. Let's quickly do question 3.6 again, because I did go a bit crazy there. So let's do it just straightforward. If you already realize from question 3.6 that you need to add different things together, I like doing it like just little pieces together and just adding them. But if you know from the start, I can figure out I need a concat here, or a concatenate, then you can do it like this. So we start with concat or concatenate, doesn't matter. Okay, function builder. The first thing I need to add, they gave me here, was a number between 1 and 50. Then I can put rand between over here, and I know it's 1,50. So the only thing why this isn't nice is because you don't get like the pop-up tooltip kind of arguments that shows you which arguments to use while you're in another function. You only get that if you use the formula bar. Oh, it's actually keeping this part of Excel on top of the PDF now. Okay. The first 2 letters of the athlete's name. Next. So the athlete's name is here. I know the function I need to extract only from the start is left. And I have to know like exactly what arguments to use. That's why I don't like using this method. Comma, and I need 2 arguments, or I need 2 cells. You'll see it shows me, or 2 characters. It shows me the answer here. Volatile means it's going to change every time. KU for this is the absolute answer. Like it's literally what it's going to be. Then the registration number of the athlete, and I know that's in cell A20. Then it shows me 250. Then I can say okay, and there I've got everything in one. That's why I like doing it in the function bar immediately like this with and signs, so that I can actually build the functions and I have the help here of my function builder and my function tooltips. So I know its bottom is 1, top is 50. If I use an and sign for the next thing, I want to add the first letters of the name, so it's going to be left, and I can see the function arguments. It's first text, then it's to close that function, and the last thing I need is the registration number. There you go. Okay, Blaze, I hope that helped. All right, I hope everyone's back from the bathroom breaks. I must maybe not drink so much water. Let's carry on with question 4. Save and close. All right, question 4. Use formula and function, same rules. Okay, but I think here we're actually going to need those rules. And we have nested if here, so we'll do that just now. Okay, work in the accommodation worksheet, and we're using for accommodation. It contains information about the price and grading of accommodation in Cape Town. The spreadsheet contains the following symbols to indicate the facilities: pets, gym, swimming pool, spa, Wi-Fi. Right, let's go open that. For accommodation. Okay, and let's start. And I'm in accom as the sheet there, hey? Right, in the accom worksheet. Right, change cells A2 to M2 and its contents to display as follows. Right, so I can see like a dotted line only at the top and bottom, and it says Cape Town, the English at the top and the Afrikaans at the bottom. All right, so at the moment, if I click away, I can see which borders and things there are no borders. So to change the borders and make like my own custom ones, I'm going to scroll down here and choose more borders. I can also, I think I can go right click, yes, I can right click and say format cells, and there I have borders. Okay, so now I first choose the type. That's the type. I need like a dot, or is it dot and dash? Dot dash, ooh, okay, so it has to be this one. Dot dash, and then I need to apply it where I need it. So I need it at the top, or I can just click right here and I need it at the bottom. Okay, that's the first part. I'll only see it when I click away. There you go. The second part is that this Kaapstad needs to be in the second line. Now if I look here in my function builder, it actually shows me it's on different lines. I actually just needed to click in there, or I had to apply wrap text. Wrap text I don't think was applied already. See, there it's applied. Just so you know, if you need to do this and it was actually like that, and you don't, even if wrap text is on, it's not going to the next line, you use Alt Enter to actually enter, to put in a break, a line break inside a cell in Excel. All right, next one. 4.2. Insert a function in cell C4 to determine how many of the places do not allow pets. Okay. So do not allow pets. We've got, this is the pets, hey? They said the little paw. It's the pets. Do not allow. Okay, so it'll be everything. There's no, it doesn't say no, it just says yes. So I'm assuming these ones don't allow it. So then it has to be a count blank, right? So in cell C4 equals count blank of this range. Now I'm not going to be able to use the Control-Shift trick to select the whole column because there are blanks. I have to drag it down manually. Right, and I have to drag it down all the way to the end. I can't just do like skip one cell or something. Okay, exactly like that, and done. Next one. The distance. Now this is a rough one. Okay, I can see it's a rough one, obviously because I know it already, but also because it's 7 marks for like this little information. All right, so let's tackle this one problem at a time. It says, the distance from the airport to a place of accommodation is displayed as follows. The 6 shortest distances must be categorized or whatever as short. Distances between the 6 shortest distances and 100 kilometers must be medium, and distances greater than 100 kilometers must be long. Right. This time they tell us insert a nested if function in cell F10 to display the distance for the boutique hotel and guest house. So boutique hotel and guest house, you see, and they want it in F10. All right. So let's break this down into a problem or two. We know we need a nested if. Okay. To do a nested if to say greater than 100 kilometers, that's straightforward. To say between the 6 shortest, this is the problem, the 6 shortest distances. Okay. Do I need to test for all 6 shortest ones? Let me quickly show you. So the shortest one I would be able to do with, I hope you know, min, hey? Right, that's the shortest one. The second shortest one I can do with small. Okay, array is the first argument, that's my range, and my second argument is comma k, how manyth, the first highest. Okay, now I can carry on like that. No, that'll be the second shortest. Hey? Okay, I can carry on like that all the way up to 6. But if we think about it logically, the 6 highest, you can just measure it by the 6th one. You don't need to measure the other 5. Hey? I only need to measure the 6th smallest distance. So I'm going to change this to small and 6th. This one I'm just going to delete. Right, so this is what's standing here. I'm testing which one is the 6th smallest. 35. All right, so let's start. Equals if. So I'm using a nested if. The first test, I don't have to do it in the order that they gave it to me in the paper. Sometimes it works, depends completely on you. Right, let's do it in the order of the paper. They said the first one is if they are in the 6th shortest distances, it has to just say short. So is this, you'll see I'm just testing one record at a time. Is this single record, logical test is a comparison. I'm actually comparing it to something else. Less than or equal to the 6th smallest one, right? Okay. Now, I'm going to stop here and just check of these two, which one should not change? The one that shouldn't change is the red one, right? So the red one, I'm going to use absolute cell referencing so that it keeps using that cell even if I copy down, okay, for safety. Now my test or my comparison is finished. What must happen if that's true? If that's true, it must give the word short. Now here's an example where I can't just go click on a cell that has the value short. I can't go do that because they said we need to accommodate that it should still work even if the values in the data changes. So if the value in the data changes, that might not be short anymore. Okay? So for that reason, I can't click on a cell for the value or the output. I want it to be short. Okay. Value if false. We still have two options. So therefore, we need another if. So value if false, you see I'm here. I'm going to start my second if. Bracket open. Okay. Now we've got a comparison again. What must I do? I can't click here. Don't worry, I can just go click underneath it and use my arrow up, or I can just type E10 because I know it must be E10. Okay. All right, so if it's less than or equal to the shortest, then it must be short. The next one says, is it between the 6 shortest distances and 100 kilometers? Okay, but think about this logically. If it fails the first test, then it means it is automatically not in the 6th shortest ones, right? So that means I don't have to test for this bottom part because I've already implicitly tested it in my first test. All I have to do is if it goes up to 100 kilometers. So now I say, is this less than or equal to 100? Okay, I'll show ifs just now, okay? Is it less than or equal to 100? Because I've already tested. It won't go to this if it wasn't larger than the 6th smallest one. Okay. Is it less than or equal to 100? Then it is medium. All right. Now, as soon as there's only one alternative left, I can put it in value if false. I don't need to do another test. I can just say value if false. If it's not as short as the shortest one, and it is not 100 kilometers or less, then it can only possibly be greater than 100. I don't have to test that again. I can then just say long. Close the bracket. That was and I've got to close the bracket again. Let me just show you. So in my first if, this is my logical test. This is the output if that question that I basically asked is true. If that question is false, if the answer is false to that question, if it's no, then it moves on to the value if false. In the value if false, I have another if, and this if has its own test, value if true, value if false. If you like using the function builder, you can also click between the first if and the second if by just clicking here in the function bar, and then you get your different arguments for them. I just find that it's best if you actually know what's going on if you're reading that whole section over there. That's what it looks like with an ifs or an if. If I wanted to use ifs, you can use ifs as an alternative to nested if, only in 2021 and Office 365. If you don't have one of those two, don't even bother. Right, so ifs would have looked like this. Let me do it in the second cell. Right, so ifs. Now I do my first logical test. Is this less than or equal to this value? I could also have actually done the small over here. I just couldn't type 35. I have to refer to 35 so that if the values changes, it actually accommodates that change. Right, and same thing, I'm just making it an absolute cell referencing. Okay, if that is true, value if true, it must be short. If it is false, you'll see there's not a if false. There's the next logical test. So now I can say, is that less than or equal to 100? Then it must be medium. Okay. Otherwise, now in this case, there isn't a value if false option. So I have to sorry, I'm getting distracted by the question. I'll get to that now. So I have to actually test the last option in this instance. So in this instance, I need to test, is this greater than 100? Then it has to be long. Okay, close bracket. This is how it would have looked in the ifs. I'm not a big fan of it, but you can use it as an alternative to nested if. Right. Itumeleng. Can you use a builder? So I'm assuming, do you mean the building blocks or the function builder? Maybe just tell me that quickly. I already used building blocks by doing the small in a separate cell. I could have done the small here. Let me show you. I could have done the small here, but it doesn't need its own equals to. The equals is just used for greater than and less than. All right. Why did I not use small in the main function? I'm just trying to show how you would break it up into separate problems. Okay. You can use it in it or you can use it out of it. Doesn't matter. If I put the function inside the if, so I've got my main if, there's my logical test. If I have my small there, then it still needs to apply to that same range the whole time. This same range needs to be the whole time, hey? So I'll make that absolute cell referencing as well. I just find that a little bit more complicated. That's why I like, oh, I've got an extra 0 there. Here you go. That's why I like using building blocks for that. Okay. So I hope, what am I doing here? There you go. If this logical test, there you go. Then value if true, otherwise value if false. Okay, there you go. I hope that makes sense. That's why I use it as a separate argument there. But you're not able, I don't think you're able to do like the if, the one if and the other if in a separate building block and then combine them. I haven't thought that through. I doubt you'll be able to. Okay. So for function builder, if I did that whole thing in the function builder, I would have done equals if bracket open fx, and then I do my logical test. I say, is this less than or equal to, and I refer to this cell, make it absolute, then call it short. Otherwise, next if bracket open, if I click only on that one, then it just shows me that one's arguments. Is this one less than or equal to 100? Then it needs to be medium. Otherwise, it should be long. That's how you would have done it with a function builder. And then it'll add the extra bracket for me. All right. Any questions? Are we done with question 4? It feels like it's been forever. No, we're not. Okay, let's carry on. How many do I have left? Okay, we've got like half hour, the people still watching. I hope this is helping and that you're still interested. Just tell me if there's something that's not clear. Okay. Use an AND function in cell G10 to return true if the price per room is less than 1,000 Rand, less than 1,000 Rand, and the place has a pool. All right, G10. Okay, so is the price less than 1,000, and do they have a pool? Yes, they have a pool. Then it needs to show true. So the AND function does exactly that. You can do more than one logical test. Just like we just used in the if, we have like a comparison. We can do the same thing. And then if all of them are true, all the logical tests that we enter, then it's going to show true as an output. So I can say, is this less than 1,000? You'll see I didn't include the R for Rand, hey? Let's just double check it didn't include 1,000. It said less than 1,000, yes. Okay, is this less than 1,000? Comma, logical test 2, and do they have a pool? To test if they have a pool, I'm comparing this cell to the value of yes. Do you see? I'm saying, is this equal to yes? And then close bracket, and it'll show true for the ones where that's true, and it'll show false where both tests aren't passed. Next one. Guys, I think I'm only going to get to the end of Excel, hey? I don't know if I'm going to make it all the way to Access and HTML as well. I can do that tomorrow. I hope that helps. All right, so Itumeleng, I showed you the function builder. Okay, so I hope that's fine. Tell me if it's a big deal if I do Access tomorrow. Is it okay? Because I don't think anyone's going to wait till the end for all of it. The explanations take too long. Right, let's finish Excel at least. During the off-peak season, places of accommodation give a 12.5% discount on the price per room. Right, so off-peak, 12.5% discount. Insert a formula. So we know it's going to be some kind of calculation. In cell M13 to calculate the price of accommodation during the off-peak season after the discount has been given. So basically we have to subtract the 12.5 discount. Right, let's do that first, then we'll do the format. I think same time, Michaela, if that's okay. Yeah, finish tomorrow. I think most people are tired. Right, so if we want to work out how much the price will be, do you see, here's the original price, and here's the price minus 12.5%. Okay, so if we want to do that, let's first calculate how much is 12.5% of 846. So C13 times. In Excel, we can say 12.5%. We can type it like that. In Access, we can't. So just for safety's sake, it's better to know. You can say 12.5 divided by 100, or you could have said 0.125 for 12.5%. All of those alternatives work. Okay, that is 12.5% of the original amount. Now we need the final amount, which is the price per room minus the discount, right? So I'm going to just put the discount in brackets, and I'm going to start with the full price minus that discount. Okay, right. I could have done this part as a building block here. I could have done this and said times 0.1.25. See, I could have done that and then just referred to this cell here. Okay, same thing. Then they said, format the amount to display in the same format as the rest of the values in the column. So, easiest is select one of them that is correct, use your format painter. That's copying the format. So we copy the format, we paste it over this one. There you go. Okay. Otherwise, I could have checked this one and gone to see what is it formatted as. It's currency with 2 decimals. And then I could have changed this to currency and 2 decimals. Okay. Just want to mention, if you're actually allowed, without a calculation in Excel, you're actually allowed to figure out how much is 100% of the price minus 12.5. That means there's 87.5% of the price left. So if you wanted to, you could also have done this in one step and just said use this amount times 87.5 over 100, because that's how much is left of the price after you subtract that. They allow that as well. Right, I see most people are keen on doing tomorrow, same time, 4 o'clock. I think we should do that. This is taking a bit long, but I hope you're learning from it. Okay, let's finish Excel at least. Format the amount to display the same. We've done that. All right, work in the Q4 worksheet. That contains the number of reviews for each of the accommodation types. Let's go there, Q4. Right. So, create a column chart using the data series A1 to B6 to display the total number of reviews for each of the accommodation types as follows. Okay, so they've given us this. I can see the values here. This is always very important to see like in what intervals these values display. Okay, so let's use the data in A1 to B6, and this is like a column chart, right? So A1 to B6. All right. Insert, and we want a column chart. I always use recommended charts. There you go. All right. Now it automatically says total reviews to $1 census. So that's one of the items that we've got already. Now, Next one I want to change is I can see these intervals are in 15,000s. It's not the same here. Do you see that? So I'm going to right click on the part of the chart that I want to edit, and I go to Format Axis, and then it'll open what I need. In general, this one that looks like a chart has all the technical changes that you can do. Right, so the minimum and the maximum, let's see what it is over here. The minimum is 0, the maximum is 90,000. So let's change that to maximum 90,000. Okay, then the intervals are 15,000 intervals. Okay, so we go to major units and we change that part to 15,000. Okay, over here. That looks much better. Is there a space in between them or something else? There's no other formatting here. You've got to check, like sometimes there's a space, sometimes the decimals are less, sometimes like it's displayed in units of hundreds or thousands or something. And then you can change all of that here. This is where you can change the display units. This is where you can change the format of the number and things like that. All right, so we're happy with that. Now, let's see what else we can see that's different. I can't see any lines here. Do you see? There's no lines. Okay, so I think the grid lines are gone as well. So I can click on the grid lines and just press delete. Okay, or I can go here, plus, and remove the grid lines by unticking grid lines. All right, now I need to change the hotels bar. The hotels bar has a paper bag texture fill. Do you see that? So the rest seems to stay like the same color. So if I just want to change one of these data series, then I need to click on it a second time so that it just selects that one. Then I can right click and choose Format Data Point, or I can right click and choose Fill and change it from here. Now in this instance, it's not a gradient, it's a texture. Yes, okay. Now if you hover over it, you'll see they give us the names, and that one is a paper bag fill. Right, now the other thing we can still see, do we have access titles? No, but we have this little funny line. What is that? All right, let's see. That, if I go here, it's not access titles, not data labels, data table, no, error bar, no, grid lines, no, legend, no, trend line. Ooh, that looks something like what I need. Hey, it just looks different. It doesn't have, it's not straight. So let's see what other options there are. Linear, no. Exponential, no. Forecast. To period moving average. There you go, got it. Last thing, do you see this thing has this funny little, it has a little arrow at the end. Let's see where we can find that. So, it's obviously the trend line that we're editing. I don't think it's a technical option. I think it's a formatting option. Okay, so that's why I'm going to the format place. And now I can check here. All right, I've got the line. There's not like an end or something, but let's see here. Begin arrow type, begin arrow size, end arrow type. Aha, there you go. And there I've got a little arrow. Okay, everyone happy? That's it for question 4, I think. Yes, save and close the for accommodation spreadsheet. If anyone, all right, so it seems like everyone's in agreement for tomorrow, 4 o'clock, same time again, to do Access HTML and question 7. If you have any questions regarding Word or Excel, ask them now or forever hold your peace. Okay, let me know. The rest of you, thanks for joining. I hope it helped. Please try the rest of the paper before you come and watch the stream tomorrow. It really, really helps if you've tried it yourself. Okay. Let me hear. Any other questions? Everyone happy? CJ, for paper 2, these little books are the most important. Let me transition. These. If you don't have a printout of it, you can go download it. I'll quickly post the link in the chat. you'll see that's the link where you can find this, where you can find the papers, everything. If you go to that website, you'll see there's a theory page, and on the theory page, this is actually at the top where it says critical resources. So there's an Afrikaans version as well. Afrikaans people, this is absolutely critical. They ask a crazy amount of papers, a crazy amount of terms out of this. Fortunate, this is actually where the new terminology is in. And it's not just the definition, it's actually an explanation of how it works, different advantages, disadvantages, and all of that. So just use that link that I just posted and go to the theory page and check under critical resources. It has all of that. That's the most important thing you need to study. You can see there, I've got a few other like summary kind of stuff there as well that you can go through. And besides that, I think going through past papers is especially important. It just helps you kind of know how much detail to give. But if you do past papers for theory, same kind of thing. Try it beforehand. Now, I don't mean type it out or write it out. I mean, at least take the paper, think what you would have answered for that number of marks. If you see it counts 2 marks, think, I would have said this, and then go check the memo, and then you see, all right, I missed that part of the question, or I didn't do that, or I didn't do that. So that's how I think theory preparation, the candidates of mine who get the best results really, really focus a lot on past papers. They actually go through past paper questions, and they do these. Okay. I actually did like an analysis to see which methods work the best, and it is past papers and new terminology. That's absolutely it. Jade, I'm glad it helped a lot. Please let me know if there's anything else specific to what we did today, where you've got any questions, and then I'll see you tomorrow at 4 again. Then we'll do the rest. Please go try the paper before tomorrow if you can. Right, if there aren't any other questions, then I'm going to sign off. Is everyone happy? Hope you had a great day. Hope it helped. And good luck for the prelims, eh? Right, I'm going to end the stream. Have a nice day, guys. Bye.